Hi, my name is Andre Ledoux, and I am the creator, developer of this particular Excel template, which started off many years ago as a template that was being used widely across the province. I've taken the time and liberty over the last few years to provide some enhancements into the Excel program to make the job of scheduling easier, faster, with less errors, and more transparent for crews as well. This particular template we're going to be talking about today, and for which I'm going to be doing just a quick tour in this video, is designed for stations which have 1 kilo day car and 1 kilo night car. So taking a quick look at the Excel template itself, on the bottom you can see there are several tabs across the bottom. This particular tab we're on right now is the Start Here tab, and let's speak quickly about this one. Here, this is the place where we're going to enter the community name, our station number, the name of the scheduler that's doing the scheduling, which will appear on the finished schedule. The month and year can be quickly selected from this little down arrow, which opens up a list that you can choose the month, same as the year. Pressing the down arrow button, you can select the year. Once those two criteria are entered, this calculation, which is the total kilo shifts, is based on the number of days in that month and the number of kilo shifts that need to be filled. So this month in January, 124 shifts need to be filled. If we need help, as the label suggests here, we can simply scroll down, which is what I'm doing, to take a look at a quick breakdown of the scheduling process and a few hints and tips. Let's move on to the next tab here called Availabilities. This is the worksheet where we're going to be doing pretty much all of our work. I've designed this worksheet so that you can pretty much stay on this worksheet and do all of your scheduling. So let me break it down. Across the top here we have the days of the month and days of the week. The first column provides a place where we can click on the drop-down selectable menu here to pick names, and I'll show you where that comes from after. Each one of these boxes here on a certain day, for example, this one is where you would enter X for availability, L for late availability, or E for education leave. And we're not going to put anything in here yet. The box to the right of it is the allotment, or the shift that you're giving that person. And clicking on the down arrow button, there are two choices. There's Kilo 1 days or CP for community paramedic. On the night shift, there's only one choice, which is the Kilo 1 night, and we're going to go through that afterwards as well. The columns to the right, these columns here reflect the amount of submitted availability for that crew member. So the number of days they've made themselves available for, and the X's you put on the day shifts here are reflected here. And the nighttime availability is here, and then their total availability is here. And that's part of the calculation used to determine the number of shifts that they are entitled to. That takes us to the next column, the entitlements column. So once the entitlement is calculated for that person, a number appears here, which is their total rounded entitlement. And it's further broken down again by the entitlement for day shifts and the entitlement for night shifts. If you have a CP in your station, this particular column here, once you put the CP tag in here to address the fact they're working in those days, will show you how many CP shifts they had. This is just an informational input. It's not really going to affect the calculations in any way, shape, or form. Now the next columns here, these are for allotments. So for Kilo 1 days, as we give our crew members shifts that are Kilo 1 days, you'll see the number appear here, and as you give them night shifts, that'll appear here. Once you start giving them a shift, let's say in the Kilo 1 day column, this will turn into a percentage bar, and it will show you what their percentage allotment is. So at a glance, you'll be able to quickly see if they're meeting their allotment as you're trying to establish. And the same thing with the night shift. This will appear as a percentage bar, and we'll see that afterwards. And there'll be a final percentage bar here, which will show in percent and a little bar graph what their total kilo allotment is. Scrolling down the page to the very bottom, there's a lot of room on this page for many crew members to put in availability. Down at the very bottom, there's a section down here which basically is a short version of the finished schedule. It shows your scheduled K1 shifts, your CP shifts, and your night shifts for every day of the month. And as you continue in this section here to allot or assign shifts, you'll see these numbers go up, and we'll talk about that as well. The next tab over is the printable schedule, and you can see here that it's basically a calendarized version of the schedule. So you have the days of the week and month across. It's broken down in two sections, the top section and a bottom section. So here we show the Kilo 1 days, and there'll be corresponding crew members filled in here. Kilo 1 nights, same thing here. And if you want to put in the name of the CP that's working, if you have a CP for that day of the week, then that will fill in here. So all of this gets filled in automatically. You don't have to enter anything. So this takes away from transposition errors that could occur if you had to manually type in names. The next tab over is the exact same thing, but it's a personalized schedule, and it's personalized because you can select from this drop-down menu the person's name, and every spot where he has a shift will be highlighted in red, and we'll see that as well. The next tab over is the employee details tab, and in this one here you'll enter the name of your employees, their full name, their last name, comma, first name. The first name will be repeated here, and then their scheduling nickname will appear in this column. You can see it's blue, it's a little bit highlighted. These are the names that appear on the finished schedule. And sometimes if we have two people with the same name, we might give them a slight different nickname if they're okay with that, or use a last name or some version that they're okay with in order to distinguish them from other people with similar names. They also have their payroll numbers here, which will appear on the schedule, or not on the schedule, I'm sorry, on the availability sheet. Their qualifications. These qualifications you can select from a list of qualifications when you're entering the person in there. If they have any restrictions, such as they're on probation, driver only, or tenant only, if you do select one of these, once you go back to the availability sheet, you'll see that that person's name will appear in red as a reminder that they're on probation for you. All these people in our fictional station here are unrestricted. I also have the date of hire in here for each one of them, and their status. The status is also a drop-down menu, so you can choose full-time, on-call, regular, part-time, secondary. And important in here is to try and make sure that these are alphabetically listed. So it makes no difference how you enter the names. You can enter them in whatever order you want. Once you've entered the names, or once you add a name, let's say you want to add a new employee in this box here, you can go ahead, just add their name, add all the details. Then when you're finished, come up here, click on the little button right here, and it gives you a sorting dialog box. So you sort A to Z, and it automatically sorts A to Z. If you wanted to sort to Z to A, as you can see, it's in reverse sorting order. We'll put it back to A to Z. If you want to sort it for some reason, perhaps on the date of hire, you could come up here and go, let's say, oldest and newest. Now you can see the employees are the most senior are on the top and the most junior are on the bottom. But if I was to leave it in this order, this reflects directly over on the next tab, which is the station phone list. And the phone list would probably be more useful in an alphabetical order. So let's just go back to employee details, sort the names alphabetically, A to Z. Now we'll take a look at the station phone list tab. So this particular phone list is something you might want to provide to your crew members. In this particular case, I have not entered any phone numbers yet. Once the phone numbers are entered in the employee details here in this section here, they will also appear on the phone list. This section here, I'm clicking in here. I can't actually physically change anything because that information comes automatically from the employee details. However, these boxes in here, all of these, you can enter anything that you want to enter that's particular to your region or your station. Perhaps the names of other stations that are nearby and their phone numbers, maybe other non-emergency numbers. All this you can change and customize as you wish. If you scroll down, there's a spot down here. If you use interconnect in your station, you can place the channels and access information, hospital information in here. If you want to print this out, most of these sheets have a create PDF button. Once you press this, it opens up, it creates a PDF document of that page. And I'll just make it so you can see the, oops, wrong one here. So you can see the page. There we go. So this is what it would look like printed. It'll have the information on there, and this is something you can distribute to your crews. So every time you make changes to your employee details here, it'll update the phone list automatically, and then you can create the PDF and print it. The next tab over is the stats or daily availabilities. This is a bar graph, and it shows the days of the month across the bottom. As you start entering X's over in the availability section here, there'll be little bars that appear and get higher and higher and higher. There'll be a bar for day, a bar for night, and we'll show you that later as well. So this is useful once you finish entering all the availabilities and you want to see what the month is going to look like for scheduling purposes. And you'll be able to see those parts of the month that don't have a lot of availability and those that do. And this might help justify any reason for you to choose not to hire or choose to hire more people based on enough availability or not enough. The last tab, submitted availabilities, this is something I've created mostly for myself. What this is a method to track those people who have submitted availability for me. So if these two people have submitted availability, and let's say it's the 14th of the month, they still have another day, I just sort of keep track of who has and who hasn't submitted availability. Those who haven't, I may choose to give them a call, give them the courtesy of calling them and saying, hey, you still need to give me some availability, and then I can update this to yes. This is just a tracking sheet. It doesn't affect anything else in the Excel worksheet. Going back to availabilities here, scrolling back up to the top, this again is where we're going to be doing all of our work. And that's it for the introduction video. On the next video, we're going to show you how to submit availabilities.